think for me it all started with listening to records at home, as it does for a lot of people. I used to listen to records on my mum and dad's radiogram in the lounge. I was very lucky though, because I had a brother that was quite a few years older than me, so he used to bring really cool albums like Pink Floyd and stuff like that, which the guys at school then obviously hadn't heard of. So I was kind of introduced to that at quite a young age. Musically, or musicianship really started for me at secondary school. I joined the brass band and began having music lessons. And I played the cornet in the brass band. Great fun, great set of guys that I played with. And then one day in a music lesson, my teacher, who was a lady called Mrs. Tootle, she was bizarre. She used to wear lime green, this was the 70s, but she used to wear lime green trouser suits with these really wild flares. I think she probably had more of or those suits had more of an impression on me than the music did. And she pulled me aside at the end of the class and said, yeah, can I have a word with you? And I thought, oh, I'm going to be in trouble for something. And she said, I think you should think about taking up drumming, because you've got natural rhythm, natural ability. And I kind of, all your mates took the mickey, and that was kind of it, you just laughed it off. Anyway, I told my dad, and unbelievably 2 or 3 weeks later he told his pal at work, and his pal had an old drum kit in the attic, and he said, right, you can take it and you can have it. It was, I'll never forget it, it had red sparkle shells, and all the heads were weird sizes, like 7 3/4 inches. So we couldn't get heads for it. It was kind of covered in pigskin heads. So the weekend, my dad and I fixed this old kit up in the garage, and we put it in the spare room. I would go into the spare room. I had a cassette player with some headphones, and I'd taped all my brother's albums like Yes and Pink Floyd and Focus, all these kinds of things. So there I was at like 13, 14 years old, playing along to stuff like, Heart of the Sunrise, and learning the art of drumming to these, incredibly complex pieces of music. And then I decided to reply to an advert in the Manchester Evening News for a band that were looking for a drummer, and it was bizarre. I was 15 at the time, and I'll never forget it. My dad took me for the audition, and they rehearsed in a pub, a room above a pub, and they turned up and they thought my dad was the drummer, and I was kind of this kid that had come along for the ride. And I think they were a bit shocked when my dad said, no, he's the drummer and I'm just kind of his roadie, if you like. And they hired me. I couldn't believe it. These guys were like 35, 38-year-old great musicians. I learnt so much about stagecraft and playing live with these guys. They were twice my age. They'd been around the block a bit. And they were kind of happy to take me on. Their biggest concern was that at the end of the night we couldn't have a pint because I wasn't old enough to drink. So my dad kind of helped out on that score. As time went on, I kind of left the blues, exciting rock blues band I was in with these guys, and I set up my own with the school pal, a progressive rock band, which did quite well. We used to rehearse 5 nights a week, and we got a keyboard player, we were like, had a keyboard player. We were this superb band, and we played some very complex music, and we worked very hard. Sadly, the prog rock band didn't work out, and it kind of all fell apart. And I was kind of out of a band. I'd had my fill of bands. I didn't want to play anymore. I'd done recording sessions, and I'd worked with Alan previously on some recording sessions on some stuff that he'd written. And we kind of got on straight away. He'd just come back from London. I was out of the band. We hooked up, and we kind of had a drink and just sat down and said, right, shall we start and work together? And that was many, many years ago. We're still kind of there. So, what does it say? That the rest is history.